Hello friends, we have Catherine here. We have an interesting violin. It's label says made in 1888 in Massachusetts. The maker is it's been confirmed. It's a single maker. It's Andrew Hyde. Um, anyway, this long story short, this violin it picks up about 40 years ago. It was bought at a garage sale. It had a microphone duct taped to it, so most likely it was set up as a fiddle. Duct tape was ripped off, and I understand that the varnish was kind of taken off, as well as some of the side work sanded down, the edge work rather. So it's kind of an abused violin that has been restored and back in playing condition. And Catherine's here to demo this single maker violin, perfect for somebody that's just after the sound and a single maker and doesn't really care about the aesthetics of it. But it is what it is, and here it is, and here's Catherine.
So excuse me, I can't even tell where the duct tape was. The restoration was done wonderfully. So like seriously, awesome job because I can't tell where the duct tape was at all. So John did a wonderful job restoring it. I just want to point out, look at this cool little thing right here. It's like straight out of, it looks like it's like straight from a tree. That's like kind of my first thought. So it's an unusual marking that I don't really see on violins much. But I am not that exposed to instruments, but John has a lot more experience with seeing lots of different violins, but I think that mark is so cool. It just reminds me of like markings that you'd see on like a tree stump. And I think it's such a neat little birthmark on this violin. And the wood is just gorgeous. I could stare at this violin for a long time. It's beautiful. Love the markings. Very present sound. I really enjoy the sound on this instrument. When I first tested out this instrument just a few moments ago, the sound was a little bit on the closed side, meaning that the sound is a little bit more on the surface and it doesn't really get that to that rich deep level. But as I was playing it, slowly but surely the wood is opening up and I'm hearing more and more resonance, more and more of those rich tones, and a little bit more of the bassy sound that I'm listening for and hoping for in this instrument. So the more that this instrument is played, the more that wood is going to open up and the sound is just going to absolutely transform. And I don't mean this in any sort of passive aggressive shade, but especially if the instrument is played in tune, then you're going to get that sound, that you're going to get the full potential of this instrument a lot faster if it's played in tune. So one thing thing that I want to fact check myself, but one thing that I love about older instruments is that whether it's the maker or the wood, there's so many components that go into it. But it just has like such a more romantic sound that I find in more modern violins. Don't get me wrong, I love my modern instrument. She was built in 2008 and I love her to death. But there's something about like the older violins that just, they have so much, this might sound corny, but they have so much wisdom in the wood and they have so much time in the wood. And I love the more like romantic, kind of sappy, no pun intended, it's kind of the sappy quality in the sound. And it's so moving. It's just a wonderful quality that I find that this violin has. So, as you heard in the first section, like I said, it like this instrument like begged me to like draw out those more romantic like slides, and the instrument wanted that, and it was so easy to do with this one. It's I can't quite come up with words. It's so beautiful. It has that like old-timey quality that you don't really hear a lot in modern playing anymore. And the instrument is just so capable of achieving that, which is wonderful. I do have to comment a little bit on the articulation. The articulation is a tiny bit fuzzy, can be adjusted through maybe different strings, different rosin. I think the rosin I'm using might not pair well with this instrument, or maybe even my bow. This is my personal bow that I'm using, and it might not pair very well with this instrument, but that is okay. There's always adjustments that can be made, whether it's a different bow, different rosin, or different strings. Just talk to your local luthier, or talk to, you can reach out to John to ask him any questions. But I think that this is just a gorgeous, rare gem of a violin, and since it might have been used for filling, I'll play a tiny little fiddle tune. Thing that I'll comment about what I enjoy about this instrument is it has a very woodsy sound as well when you play it in a certain style. So when I approached it from a fiddle perspective, it definitely drew out a little bit more of the woodsy nature of the violin. And that is what I personally like to hear in my instruments. I have a fiddle instrument that's specific for bluegrass that I got from Revivo Violins from John, and it's my favorite fiddle instrument, and it has that woodsy quality that I need in my fiddle music. And this one is also capable of that. So whether you're a professional or an advanced violinist or a fiddler, I think that this would be an excellent instrument for all of those needs.
Wow, and you're right. This violin or fiddle does need a player to open it up. It's even opened up on this video. The other thing I did want to comment, just from an audience perspective, is exactly what Catherine was talking about. It has a dreamy silver screen movie sound to it. Like, it could be the violin sound of, say, like the closing credits of The Wizard of Oz. It just has that genre of that early 20s, late 1800s, just that dreamy sound. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. I am speechless as well. Bravo, and I hope you enjoyed this Andrew Hyde 1888 single maker made violin with the knot. Why he chose a top slab with a knot, we will not know. No pun intended there as well, but it certainly adds character, and like Catherine said, it has a birthmark and it just needs a new home. So this could be yours. Thanks, my friends, and play on.